Hey everyone, we're here for just a real quick one today. So, this is Julie, your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching, where I do constellational astrology, root cause therapy method, solution focused wellness coaching, and I'm also a Reiki master practitioner. So, bring it all together. And I am joined here with my lovely co hostess, as always, in our Holistic Health Happy Hour.
Holistic Health Happy Hour, episode number
29?
28.5, we'll call it. This is like a
Yes,
mini
28.5.
mini episode. I am Maria Schumacher, also known as Vian, having a bad hair day. I write I write a daily astro blog on Facebook and a couple of pages. I have a website which is venus-13.com where I have a number of esoteric offerings in the esoteric arts. I'll repeat myself. Venus-13.com. Vion at venus-13.com is my email. So
Yay. And I'm yourbesthopeswc.com. So,
your
right
best
there.
hope, WC. And
Yep.
she is your best hope. I'm here to tell
No, you're your best hope, and I just help you find it.
you.
There you
So,
go. There
so
you go.
well, we wanted to just squeeze a few minutes in to talk about an actual super important thing that kind of started right now,
Yes.
right? It's kind of starting today, and it's going to be with us for a couple of weeks. Um, the shift of the lunar nodes of the moon, from Pisces, Virgo into Leo, Aquarius.
Hmm.
And it's going to take these next 2 days or 2 weeks or so to really affect that. Um, but we're feeling the effects now because we've also got Jupiter changing signs, Venus changing signs, um,
Pluto's still on a cusp
Pluto still on a
in
cusp
retrograde.
in, in retrograde. So there's and a Merkaba, a perfect like opposing grand trines formed in the sky.
Yep.
So it's just this little ring. It all the portal kind of opens today if you do portals. So we thought, hey, let's take a few minutes and say words about it.
And some of this, something else to remark on is that this energy is coming through on a full moon in a fucus.
Yes.
So, we've got some powerful energy going on there. That creates an interesting dynamic. So, for those who may not know, the nodes themselves, the lunar nodes, are not actual celestial bodies in the sky. It's an orbital relationship between how the moon goes around the sun and Earth goes around. I'm sorry, the moon goes around Earth. See words. The
What?
moon goes around Earth and the Earth orbits the sun, and both of those orbital paths cross at 2 points opposite each other. So just so
Right.
people understand, it's not an actual celestial body. But the ancient astronomers figured out that the placement of these marking points created a certain level of energy that became um, readable, if you will, through time. So that's just,
That that stayed significant even if there wasn't an eclipse. See,
yes,
these are the points in both of those orbits where an eclipse would happen
right,
at any given moment.
right, right.
So
And just,
they, yep, they seem to be relevant. And they have been, so here's today's chart. They have been hanging out in Pisces and Virgos for what, 100 years?
something like
150?
that.
Jesus
A long
Christ.
ass time.
A long ass time. Virgo and Pisces. You go, girl. My girl Julie loves her some Virgo and Pisces. So talk about that opposition just for a sec.
Yes. So real briefly, one of the astrologers I studied under talks about the alchemy between the two energies, right? And it's you have the one energy, the other energy, but to alchemize them creates a harmony, if you will, if you put these things in balance. So the Virgo and the Pisces, as above, Pisces, so below Virgo, but it's also a process of the Virgoan energy is all about self-improvement, creating better systems, if you will, and the Piscean energy is all about surrender. But if you surrender to the Virgoan energy and alchemize it in a beautiful way, you're in a state of healing. And so this has been our collective energy, if you really think about it. But our North Node call is to move into that surrender side of things
Hmm.
and to be connected to the Piscean energy of the all that is, unconditional love, compassion, empathy, and all of that. Well, we're going to ratchet it and we're going to move into self development, Leo, and development of the collective, Aquarius. So then
Right.
this creates an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. And so the super interesting, well, there are many super interesting things about the nodal axis, what do you call it? The the sort of, seesaw point, continuous seesaw point in the chart.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a dividing line of the chart because they're always opposite. They
Right,
may not always be exactly opposite. And this is something again that you only get when you're looking at true live sky.
right.
Because of the math,
Mm-hmm.
because of math, these two are almost never exactly opposite. In tropical, they are always exactly opposite, and that's another way in which tropical doesn't have it quite right.
Right,
So it's going to begin again as we are realizing that it is increasingly important to be provably accurate
right.
to the live natural sky.
Well, and if you
If
think about it, the orbits aren't exact. There's wobble, and the Earth and the Moon
yes,
aren't exact perfect spheres.
that's it.
Yeah,
This not exactly spherical thing is rotating in a not exactly perfectly round orbit
right,
that is also rotating itself not perfectly round in a not exactly perfectly round. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of imperfection in nature. A
right.
lot of imperfection in nature. And and this is reflected better, more accurately in a true sidereal chart that doesn't force everything to be exact same degrees, exact same sizes, exactly opposite. And so, on the rare occasions when you do get things that line up exactly, it's even more significant.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so let me clear those off. And shall we move into when we see little South Node kind of just take a little leap into Leo?
Right. So again, here's the South Node. Okay.
Mhm.
The South Node speaks of comfort zone, things that we've already experienced, things that we're already good at, mastery, escape points, and there's double-edged sword there too. Sometimes you just need to retreat into some place
Right.
that feels familiar
Mhm.
because you need that recharge. You need to feel good about yourself for a minute, right? It's like, all right, I'm doing some hard stuff, but for just a sec, I need to retreat into Virgoan themes would be, a health routine
Right.
of some sort. I need to retreat into something that I'm very comfortable with just to get my bearings again.
Yep. Go organize a room or yeah.
Right, right. Okay, and then I'm ready to move forward again. North Node represents forward motion into something that we have never experienced before, into something new, something unknown, something that we cannot see. And of course, in the human psyche, the part that we haven't experienced yet is where everything that we're afraid of lives. Absolutely everything that we fear lives in the undiscovered country.
Right. The fear of the unknown. It's
Right.
been said time and time again. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And so themes of Piscean nature in there would be we're afraid of developing our spiritual side. We're afraid of the collective. We're afraid of the deep feels. We're afraid of our dreams. We're afraid of our psychic nature. We're afraid of giving up um giving up a material existence.
Surrender.
Surrender. Yeah, we're afraid of surrender.
Pure surrender.
And so this axis, this life path, the going from, oh, I'm really comfortable with the material existence and my body and routines and structure and schools and churches and you know things that
This
provide
is
me a job where I go to a job and I work hard and I'm materially rewarded for working hard and blah blah blah. And okay, yeah, I need to be moving into something more spiritual, but that's scary because I might have to, give up some of the material stuff.
yep.
So anyway, that's where we've been. That's what we've been struggling with for what seems like ever.
Surrender, I think, has been the hardest part of it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the things I want to mention too, and just touching on what you were saying, is that South Node again is that familiarity, whether you believe in past lives, ancestral, generational. It's what you come in with already knowing, so to speak.
Yes.
And the thing is, even though we're orienting toward that north node, it's an infinite process. As Maria said, if you're going into that, I can't do that Pisces north node thing. I got to go hang out in Virgo for a while, right? It's you take from what you know to have more tools and understanding to move into what you're not aware of or don't have an
That's right.
understanding of. You need that south node. So we retreat into that when we need to be recharged or rejuvenated, or we're overly challenged by what the North Node asks. It's like, dude, I'm taking that time out, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's an alchemical thing. It's you're oriented toward that direction, but it's not a one directional thing.
Yeah, there's also a certain amount of, all right, what do I have? What do I already have in my toolkit that I might need to get over this hump
Hmm.
of, what do I have in my south node that helps me cross another north node threshold
Right.
or, slay another imaginary monster or open up another notch to
Hmm.
trust? Well, if I look back, I can trust that everything worked out for me before,
Right.
you know, then I can pretty reasonably say that everything will. But
Oh,
most of these, mm,
so I was going to say, so as
yeah,
we jump a cusp, that can be
yep,
jarring.
we
That can
can
be really
turn.
jarring
So
because even though the energy of I view that when we're within a few degrees of a cusp, depending on if it's a fast mover or a slow mover, you start to get the whiff of the energy that's that you're moving toward, right? So like we're
yes,
moving toward Leo because also the nodes go the other way. So we won't belabor that
yeah,
right now, but the gist is
they move
as yeah, they don't move this, they move the opposite direction
in the opposite
in the
direction is
chart,
mostly the chart. Yeah, yeah,
right? So you're starting to feel the whiffs of that cuspy energy while you're moving from, say, Virgo to Leo. You're starting to feel some of that Leo coming in. But man, once it gets into Leo, it's kind of like, okay, I just jumped off the train and it was still kind of moving.
right, right.
And so it's a shift, right? Or like somebody just turned the lights on in a room. It's the energy is like, oh, okay, I'm in Leo now. All right. So you're going to
Mhm.
notice, along with the other cusps we mentioned
Whereas that shift from Pisces to Aquarius in the North Node is not going to be so jarring.
earlier. Yes,
It really isn't. It's a much gentler slide from Pisces to Aquarius than it is from Virgo to Leo or vice versa. That cusp is a real cliff.
I think so.
Yeah, every damn time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, now there's this feeling of, oh my God, okay, we have finally gotten out of the Virgo energy, right? We need to play
Yes.
a little bit because I think that one thing that has been missing in all of this for all of this time is fun.
Yeah. And
Is
remembering the fun, South Node.
yes.
Yep.
Yes. Remembering how fun life can be and how you get to just enjoy stuff. Just play.
So
Just
this
play.
this creates a very beautiful segue to why looking at these nodes in the constellational perspective creates such an interesting level of nuance that is not seen in tropical, because tropical does that exact polarity. It would be saying Leo
Yep.
Aquarius. But with this particular iteration here, and I'll just draw a circle around it real quick. So you've got the Pisces North Node here, still in the, that 3 degrees there, and then you've got just on that cusp, right? So another day ahead, that South Node's going to be in Leo.
Right.
And the interesting thing is we're going back to remembering how to play, right? Remembering how to be that expressive child, if you will. But the Piscean piece of it is surrender into it.
Yes.
That's the subtlety.
Surrendering to that that beautiful child, surrendering to that inner child that learns by playing,
Yep, yep,
right? That
remembering
just,
that,
yep, that just feels comfortable playing, that wants some recess, that wants to develop itself without a massive structure.
right,
You know, that kind of wants to fall down. See, Virgo, we start to get structure back into it.
right.
In fact, that's our counter to all of the Pisces energy, which is unstructured, which is, you know, dissolving and dissolution and letting go and allowing and flowing and things.
Hmm.
We look back to Virgo for something to handle, for some structure,
Hmm.
but it can be confining. It can be so it's almost like this is the signal that we're ready to come out of a cocoon
Hmm. Hmm.
that we have been in. So we've been in a cocoon of Virgo, sort of experiencing all of the gelatinous Pisces-ness of unforming and reforming.
Right, right.
But now we're about ready to come out and play as that butterfly again.
Yeah, and
It's,
what's interesting is I'm taking note of a number of different people I'm crossing paths with in my work. Is a lot of inner child trauma, those kinds of things are coming up over and over and over again. And I
yes,
think as we move into that Leo, again, South Node, past history, generational, past life, whatever you ascribe to, it's a matter of going back and bringing that child forward to help that child surrender into who he or she is so that they can move into the energy of Aquarius to bring to the world that true authentic self.
yes, yes. And to that, I would also add that at this juncture, while we're at these sort of cusp spaces, we're kind of genderless, right? So we move,
Formless.
I think the focus goes from, I think, healing the mother wound, the goddess wound, the woman wound, to now focusing on that inner child, which doesn't necessarily have a gender or identify with the gender yet.
They're a child.
They're a child.
Yeah. Yep.
So we all get to partake of a healing equally. And that'll probably show up differently for the genders because men are going to need healing in a different form than women will, which is not to say that we're still not going to be working on mother wounds and we're still not going to be
Right.
working on, the ancient feminine wound, and we're still not going to be, we're going to be healing that divine, bringing that divine masculine back into balance, but we're all going to be doing it through our inner child.
And it's no accident that the pressure point, which tends to be squares, is the galactic center. There's no accident in that, right?
Yep.
That's the birth of the entire galaxy. So as we're moving into this energy that the nodes are calling, it's a rebirth. Like you said, it's coming out of that cocoon. It's coming out of and becoming that butterfly. But this is a collective experience. This
Yes.
isn't just Julie and Maria and George and Fred and whatever. This is the collective.
This is everything. Yes, square to Ophiuchus, square to the galactic center. The
Right,
nodes have been square to the galactic center for a
right.
while. So this is, yeah, this is now everybody's. inner child, and it's going to feel it's going to be a very different experience, very much a coming together. So there's a feeling of we've really crossed a threshold here, and I think that there will be this feeling of coming together.
Hmm.
And Aquarius is a very community-minded
Right,
thing.
right.
Leo is a social animal,
Yes.
right? It wants other children to play with.
Hmm.
And even in Pisces, it wants those other spirits to connect with.
Right, right. And of course we have the business going on here with Saturn and Neptune coming together to dissolve all the boundaries that have held us back,
That's it.
you know?
Yep.
So I think you'll
And
find some fluidity in all of this.
yes. See, and they stay in that place until February,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Exactly.
So, yeah, we're still not reforming bound we're still not reforming
Right.
things yet. We're rediscovering ourselves through play
Yes. Yes.
and play with other people. So it's I think there's a lot to look forward to in this nodal shift. And I think a sense of coming together and finding your playmates is going to be one of them.
And I think what's really supportive of that is this right here too. So we've got the movement of Jupiter coming into Gemini that
Yes.
expands the level of curiosity, right? It
Yes.
opens us up to the bigger wisdom of it all. Mercury crossed over just before that. So there's that, oh, I just got to get the details. But now Jupiter says, expand into the knowledge and wisdom in all of this. It's not just
The
the,
curiosity. The
it's
curiosity.
and it's
Just
the deep curiosity.
yes.
Yeah.
Of that child, of that
Yes.
developed child that we slip into in Leo, right?
Right.
So oh, I love
So,
that.
so
Yeah.
when you get a nudge out there that is, gosh, I'd really rather go play a little bit and surrender into it, right? You
Yeah.
expand into that, allow for that. Obviously, if you're driving to work and somebody expects you to be there, you can't turn around and go sit on the playground. But if you're in a space where your boundaries aren't holding you back or obligations to others aren't holding you back, explore with curiosity.
And I think that we're going to be a lot less afraid of losing material things. I think that we're going to be able to be a lot more present in our moments of, I want to go join that. I want to go join that parade right
Yes.
now. I want to go join that protest. I want to go join that volleyball game. I want to go join in.
Yeah.
I want to be part of that moment. And I'm no longer afraid of, I'm not afraid of losing a material thing. I'm not afraid of losing my job. I'm not afraid of losing my home. I'm not as afraid of being unstructured.
I just had a flashing thought that I think some of this energy will move us into that place of giving up some of the trappings of the material stuff that we've held on
Thank
to
you.
for
That's
so
what I've been trying to say.
yeah, and
Yeah,
get
yeah,
into
yeah.
the community. I still think we're going to be in like a kind of like a bartering swap meet kind of thing. It's like, I've got a whole set of dishes I need to get rid of. Hey, Maria, you know somebody who's moving into a brand new apartment as a kid out of college and they could use it. Okay, let's
Right,
connect. So I think, and I can give up that set of dishes even though it was something my mother gave me, right? Things like
right.
that. Letting go of
Yes.
those material security blankets and at the same time bringing it to the community who may be able to use it when you no longer can.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be
exactly.
some sense of that. And you're going to do it in a way that it's enjoyable and playful.
Yeah. And I think that will really start to realize because we've gotten all that Piscean wisdom, we've let go, we've had our sort of fingers peeled away from, all of the structures that we knew, we're going to be able to identify things that, this just is not enhancing my fun.
Right.
In fact, this is keeping me from really expressing myself. And I'm over it. I want to be over here where I can be myself and breathe. I don't want to be having to hold on to this thing, to this material thing. Virgo has taught us the real value of material things and also shown what we've put artificial value into by virtue of that opposition to Pisces that we've been in this whole time.
And we don't want the responsibility of having all that stuff anymore.
I
It's the
think we
level
don't
of
either.
responsibility that comes with all of that,
Hmm.
right? The kids like, no,
Yeah,
I want to
nope.
have to keep it clean and maintain it and keep it up to date and whatever all of that other craziness is for these material things. The kid can survive on so much less,
Right. You're
and
like
that's
maybe
familiar.
yes, yes. And still enjoy
Yes.
life. So
Yep. Yep.
anyway, that was what we wanted to hop on with. That there's a big shift happening, but there's a lot of potential for joy here
Mhm.
that
Oh,
I
Venus and Aries.
Venus has moved into Aries.
Yep. There's a momentum and energy behind being playful and creative and tapping into the arts. The little kid coloring in the coloring book outside the lines
Valuing just simplicity and joy, simple joy.
and
Yeah.
valuing your physicality. Get out and play, throw the ball
Yeah.
to the dog or whatever,
Yeah.
all of that. So, well, my dear, do you want to take the share screen off and we'll
Yeah.
do a quick little wrap up here? So just to give you all an idea, this is kind of how we approach our little fun project that we call Constellational Conversations. So we have two cohorts, Sundays and Tuesdays. The second Sunday of the month for about 2 hours, 11 a.m. US Pacific, 2 p.m. US Eastern. And then for the Tuesday cohort, we split it into two 1 hour sessions, and that's the second and fourth Tuesdays, 4 p.m. US Pacific and 7 p.m. US Eastern. You can rewind
Yep.
and play that again. And we would love to have you. It's a way to learn about astrology in a conversational discussion based approach rather than here's lesson one, here's lesson two, here's lesson three. That has its place. But we like to have the organic energy of the discussion that needs to be at hand for the students at that time. So
Right.
if you want to know more, pray tell Ms. Maria, what is your email address where people can
Yep.
get
If you
information?
want to know more, please email me at vianne, Vianne, at venus-13.com.
Yay. And we'd love to have you. We'd love to
Yes.
have you. So,
Because it's for all levels of
yes,
knowledge from, what is a square to, my second progressed chart is showing that in this area, you know what I mean, to probably know more than we do, but they still were willing to talk about it.
right.
So that's just it. It's the conversation. We just want to have the conversations and learn from each other where we are.
Yes, yes. So we'd love to have you. So Vion at venus-13.com to send inquiries. And again,
And she'll put this on the page that ends up
yep,
to be.
yep. And venus-13.com is where you can find Maria and all her offerings. I'm at yourbesthopeswc.com to find all my offerings. We hang out on Radical Astrology Facebook page, Cosmic Reflections Facebook page. So that's where you can find us. So,
Yep.
so go ye forth and conquer the nodes, as they say. All right, we'll see you all in cyberspace.
Bye, guys.